If there's anything that has described my life over these last 4 years, it would be two things. One, starting my own small business. Hi everyone, it's Taylor. I'm the owner of Nahamsha Gifts. And two, hiking. Good morning. Day one on the Appalachian Trail. And a lot of people don't know this, but the whole reason I got into hiking in the first place was because of my gift shop. So it was this book that started it all. The 4,000 Footers of the White Mountains. We sold this book in the gift shop before I even realized what the 4,000 footers were in New Hampshire. So one day at work, I was bored, picked up this book and started looking through it. It's a huge book. And then I went on Instagram and started to look at pictures of these mountains that the book was talking about. I hiked my first 4,000 footer in 2016 because of this book, and then from then I was hooked. 3 years after I hiked my first 4,000 footer, I completed the whole list and hiked all 48 of them. And then just 1.5 years after that, I completed the Appalachian Trail. So you could say that I fell in love with hiking. I'm gonna bring it back to 2020 for a second. This is when COVID started, people were staying home, and the puzzles and games business absolutely exploded. My mom, who owns a different gift shop, decided to come up with the idea and create Hampshire-Opoly. This is a board game just like Monopoly, where each space was a different destination around Lake Winnipesaukee, where we live. This game absolutely took off. My mom was doing newspaper interviews and television interviews. She initially ordered 1,000 games and announced it on Facebook, and before the games were actually delivered to her store, all 1,000 games had been reserved. We obviously thought it was an amazing game, but we didn't anticipate it to take off the way that it did. So after all of the chaos around Hampshire-Opoly kind of calmed down, the only thing we could think of was, what's next? At this point, I was planning to return to the Appalachian Trail in 2021, so I thought the idea of having a hiking-related board game would be right up my alley. So I'm going to share the whole process with you on how this just went from an idea to an actual board game. The first step was to find a company to work with to help us manufacture the boards. We decided to use a different company than we used with Hampshire-Opoly because there were a couple changes that we wanted to make and we would need a new company to accommodate that for us. The next step was to decide what will be on each space. There were 40 spaces around the board and I had full creative control on this. I really wanted to showcase a lot of different aspects of hiking in New Hampshire, so I didn't just want to put 40 different 4,000 footers and call it a day. I definitely wanted some 4,000 footers on the board, but I also wanted some easier hikes and different waterfalls and even some hiking hostels. I even talked to people from the actual railroads around the White Mountains to get them on the board as well. Also in this phase, I got to decide what each of the 6 little player pieces that players would use around the board, and I also had to write a message on every single one of the cards that the players would choose. The next step was starting to design everything, and there was so much to design. I designed all of the 40 spaces on the board, along with the design on the front of the box, the logo for the game, the back of the box, all the cards, and I'm sure there's a lot more that I can't think of right now. So the next step, now that I designed and had a vision for the board, was to go out and hike and actually get photos of things that I wanted to include on the board. So back in July, I actually posted a video on my YouTube channel where I said I was working on a secret project and I was getting pictures of all these random things. So the list of things I have to get pictures of today is really random, and you'll figure out why a little down the road once it's ready. So I have to get 3 waterfalls, I have to get a picture of a white blaze, a cairn, and also the entering Sandwich Wilderness sign. So I'm gonna go all over New Hampshire trying to get these photos today. Well, now you know what the secret project was. So if you want some behind the scenes, you can go check out that video. I'll link it in the description. So the next step was, now that I had everything designed and I had the photos and exactly what I wanted the game to look like, I sent it off to the team where they had their own graphic designer and they were able to put everything together. And once he was done working on it, he would mail us back paper drafts of what the board game would look like. We're literally at the sandbar and just got the first set of proofs of the board game, so I'm going over everything right now. It looks so good. So it was so exciting every time he sent us back drafts. We went back and forth about 3 times, making changes and really looking at everything to make sure it was perfect. And thank God I did, because one of the final drafts I looked like, I noticed that I spelled Mount Chocorua. I realized that I spelled Mount Chocorua wrong. Chocorua wrong. I realized that I spelt Mount Chocorua wrong, and he was able to fix that at the last second. Alright, it's the 3rd round of proofs for New Hampshire Hike-Opoly. I just noticed that Chocorua is spelt wrong. So we're sending it back. After we get that fixed, should be able to order 1,000 board games. So this is exciting, and I'm really happy I caught that mistake because I did not want Chocorua spelt wrong that many times. So we signed off on the board game on September 28th, and I got my first physical copy in the mail on November 5th. It's now November 11th, and I just got home from my storage unit because that's where we met FedEx, and they delivered all of the Hike-Opoly games. There were 3 huge pallets full of these games, and I was there with my parents loading them all into the storage unit. So now I physically have all of the games, and I'm ready to put them in the shops and to start shipping them. Woo! So now you know the whole process on how we got to this point. So now I'm gonna open the game and show it off to you guys. So here we have the front of the box, which I designed the whole thing myself. I'm really proud of this logo that I created and all the little details. So now we're gonna open the game. The first thing you're gonna see is the board, which folds out. There are instructions, but I left those at work, but the instructions came out really nice. Under the board, we have everything that we need to play. So, of course, we have the money, which is just typical Monopoly money. We have these. In the original game, you'd call them houses and hotels. In this game, we call them cabins and lodges. Obviously, we have a pair of dice. These right here are the property cards. So if you land on a space and wanted to buy it, you would get this card. You know how to play. So it has all the information on it, like how much it would cost with a certain number of cabins or with a lodge. These right here are like the chance or the community chest cards. So we have White Blaze instead of community chest, or we have Karen's instead of a chance card. So they all have something fun written on them. These are the player pieces. So you can see we have a tree, a dog, a backpack, a hiking boot, a whistle, and a hat. So now I can show you more in depth of the board itself. You can see the logo is right in the middle. Also, this design with all the 4,000 footers in New Hampshire, we actually worked with a creator that we found on Etsy to get that on the board. This is where the game starts, the go space, which is go take a hike. We got a couple animals right here that you might see on the trail. We got our first railroad. This group of 3 properties are all peaks in the Belknap Range, which are peaks pretty close to my gift shop. So I thought those were important to include on the board. Instead of jail, we have a shelter. This group of 3 properties are all hikes on the 52 with a view list. We got our second railroad, which is the North Conway Scenic Railroad. This group of 3 are all waterfalls that you can hike to in New Hampshire. The money space is trail magic, because when you see trail magic on trail, that's basically like winning the lottery. Over here we have 3 wildernesses that you can find while hiking in New Hampshire. I had fun getting those photographs of those signs along with photographs of the waterfalls. Our third railroad, which is the Hobo Railroad. Now we got 3 of the presidential peaks, so Mount Adams, Mount Jefferson, and Mount Monroe. And I was able to get little photos of each president, so I thought that was a fun touch. This is the go to jail space, but instead of go to jail, you go to the shelter. And I got this photo of the sign on Mount Washington saying that it's the worst weather in the world, so I thought that was fitting. So when you're playing the game and you experience bad weather, that's when you have to head to the shelter. This group of 3 right here are 3 hiker hostels in New Hampshire, and I thought they would be fun to put on the board because when you're playing you can buy a hostel. And so that's something I thought of a lot while I was through hiking. Railroad number 4, which is the Mount Washington Cog, which is pretty iconic. And these are the last 2 spaces on the board. I tried to make them epic. Franconia Ridge and Mount Washington. And I love this picture because I actually took that picture myself while I was through hiking the AT. And now we're back at the beginning. My cheeks hurt from smiling right now. I'm just so excited to be able to share this with you guys. I've been working on this board for so long and it feels so cool to just show it off. So if you like hiking in New Hampshire or you know someone who does, consider buying one. I'm selling them at my gift shop in Meredith, or they're also available on my website and you can order it there and have it shipped right to you. The games are $39.99 and the shipping price will be dependent on how many you order and where you live. I'm really excited for the fact that they're going to be able to be delivered before the holidays because I think these would make really good Christmas gifts. So I just got all of these boxes in and I'm going to be doing all the shipping myself, so I'm excited for that little project. And since I'm doing all the shipping myself, I'm going to be throwing in a bunch of Nahamsha stickers in every order. I am so excited that this project is finally out and I was able to make this video and release it to you guys. So if you made it this far into the video, just thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. I'd love for you guys to comment below and tell me what you think about this. I'm really excited to read what you guys think. If you want to order it for yourself, the link to order it will be in the description of this video, so check that out. And until then, have a nice day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.